father surgically removed her vocal cords so she couldn't scream for help. Before I go into this video, I have to let you know that this book is really emotionally heavy, so if you have certain triggers, please make sure you check Nissa's trigger warning list before you go into reading this. Take care of your mental health above all else, and now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. Milo grew up in a really abusive household. Her father was a surgeon, and he not only abused his power but his knowledge, and he left Milo mute. On top of that, he didn't teach Milo sign language. He didn't teach her any ways of communication. Instead, he conditioned Milo to believe that good girls and good kids are quiet and they're obedient. So when Milo got rescued from that situation and she got put in the system awaiting to be adopted, she was surrounded by kids who were not quiet and not obedient. So in her head, she always thought like, oh, why are these kids being so loud, like they're speaking? But she knew that she had to be quiet because that's what her dad told her to do. However, it was just this first bit was really hard for Milo because this was like the very first time that she got introduced to other children and the outside world, because she quite literally got kept inside, and these kids were cruel to her because she couldn't communicate, she couldn't speak, so they started leaving her out and she was always alone. However, there was a worker within this establishment that took her under her wing and started teaching her ASL, so she had the means of communication and she was just always there for her. When she got adopted, she was scared because she didn't know what she was going to go into. She saw kids come and go, kids go and come back, kids go and never come back. She didn't know she was going to be taken from this establishment, from that worker that she was close with, and put in another abusive household. She didn't know what to expect, but she got adopted by the most loving family who already had 2 other foster children. So we get introduced to Wesley, who's the oldest child, and Ashby, who's the middle child, and then Milo becomes the youngest child, and this family incorporates her from day one. They all learn ASL and they all teach her ASL, so she has a bigger communication range and she is always understood and they can always communicate. They all love her so freaking much and they take care of her, and you just get to see that she gets put in a loving environment after being in such a hateful environment for so freaking long. However, her and Ashby develop a deeper connection, so Ashby becomes like her protector. He takes on that role and it starts as innocent kid love. Like, he's always there for her, he's always watching out for her, he's drawing her little pictures and dragging her to play with all his friends, and he comes over to sleep in her bed at night so she can sleep. He's literally always there. But as they get older, this connection deepens and it just gets to a point where they both feel so confused because they don't know how to say these feelings out loud. However, they're all in the same friendship group. So the main friendship group consists of Ashby and then his 2 friends, Scotty and Stan, and then Milo is also there, so there's 4 of them. Ashby and Milo being the main couple of this book, and then Scotty and Stan being the other couple. These 4 quite literally have my heart. It started off a little bit rocky, like I first thought like what is gonna happen, but Ashby clocked everyone and made sure that everyone was nice to Milo and they learned ASL and they were all inclusive. But we get introduced to what Milo grew up with and the kind of abuse that she dealt with from the kids and the bullying. And there's actually the scene where Scotty throws a party, like a house party, and she invites a couple close friends. However, these close friends send the invitation out and next thing you know, people swarm in the house. And this is the first time that we get introduced to the main bullies. These 2 main bullies are 2 girls. These 2 girls, the best way I can describe it is almost like Mean Girls on some sort of steroids because of how mean they are. One of them has an infatuation with Ashby, and she actually produces this great idea during the party that they crashed, they were not invited to, that Ashby and Stan should take them both out on a double date with them being their dates, and Ashby turned them down because he was like, no.
How about no?
In the same scene, in the same party, Stan actually asked Ashby like, why don't you confess your feelings to Milo, because everyone can see that you guys are in love. But he had this kind of anxiety that if he was to confess his feelings and she didn't feel the same, then their connection would be ruined, and he didn't want to ruin it. But they both felt the same. They both felt that love, and it was bleeding through the pages, because you could just see how much they both cared for each other, especially how much Ashby cared for Milo, because he was literally providing her all sorts of quiet comfort that you could think of. She has a skin picking disorder, so when he noticed that she always had bandages and plasters on her hands, he literally told her, like, instead of doing that, if you feel like you're gonna pick your skin, grab my hand and squeeze as tight, or just hold my hand instead of picking your skin and hurting yourself. He was literally always there for her. But the bullying just amped up, and Milo's the type of person that didn't complain. No matter how bad it got, she never ever complained. She had so much kindness to give to this world that I literally just felt it felt like horrible to read, because she is being like violently bullied and these people are acting so violent with her, but she always says that it's okay, and she always has the heart to forgive, even though these people might not deserve forgiveness with how they're treating her. So we get the bullies that we get introduced to end up bullying her so badly that it turns into assault. And when this chapter actually came around, it was so physically hard to read that I had to put the book down, because I felt physically ill. It was so well written, but it felt so raw that I think it just really wrecked. It just really wrecked me reading this kind of scene, because these two bullies, these two girls, have never been told no in their life, and they had so much hatred and so much meanness in their body that they just took it out on Milo all the freaking time. And that one time that they assaulted her, it just got to a point. But even then, she was like, it's fine. So they harmed her hand, and Milo is mute. So her hands are literally the only way that she can communicate. And they were just disgusting. And when Ashby found out that this happened, I just remember him trying to comfort her, and her being literally like, not only could you see that she was in physical pain, but that she was physically harmed, but she was trying to make it seem like it was fine and that she was okay and that nothing was going on. That's how much compassion this girl had towards people that didn't deserve the compassion. This book was so emotionally heavy and so like well written that it took me on an absolute roller coaster. There was just so many parts of the book that was so hard to read, because both Ashby and Milo came from really horrible backgrounds, but they were able to find something so beautiful, to create something so beautiful. And when they actually finally confessed to each other and find out that they both liked each other in that way, it was so fulfilling to see, because you're like, oh, like they finally like know they're each other's persons. And when you talk about soulmates, like these are the, like Milo and Ashby are soulmates. But this entire book was just so tough to read from the emotional aspect, because Nissa, you wrote this book so well that I quite literally could feel every single emotion, and I felt myself choking up and crying. And especially during that chapter where they violently assaulted her, I just felt myself being taken back to moments of my life that I thought that I had blocked out. I think that's why it hit as much as it did hit, because this book was a representation for everyone that has silent struggles going on that they have never mentioned before, silent struggles that they deal with or have dealt with on a day-to-day basis. If that's bullying, if that's like this disorders like skin picking, or having disabilities such as being mute, like this has the representation, and it's written so well that it quite literally strikes you through the heart. But the thing is that it's so fulfilling to see that, like, to see it all come together, that you will drag yourself through all these emotions. I read it in one sitting. It took me 4 hours and 40 minutes to read this book, one sitting. I couldn't put it down, and this book has like 577 pages or something of that sort. Yeah, 577 pages. I read it all. It was so freaking good. And listen, I've been following Nissa for a couple months now, and I just really want to say how proud I am of this girl, because it takes some gut to not only pour this out, but to become so vulnerable that you write this kind of thing into a book form and put it out for the world to see, but let me tell you, like, we appreciate it so much because this book is amazing. Now I cannot wait for book 2 because it's going to be a duet. So within I mentioned that within their friend group there's a girl named Scotty and a guy named Sam, their mutual friends, so they're also a couple, so we got to see their dynamics play out, and it was also really interesting that I wrote down like theories throughout the book. Where are my little post-it notes? Feels like someone's gone through my book and just ripped them all out. Like there's certain things that went on and I was like, oh, so I was writing down theories. It was also good. So Scotty and Stan, I think they're getting their book next, and I'm just so excited to read it and to see it, and then to get Milo's and Ashby's second book. Oh, I just usually can't wait for it because this is so good. And listen, if you like Boys of Tommen, you're gonna like this book. I just have to say that you have to strap in and grab your tissues because this is going to be a sad, sad ride, but it's going to feel so good at the end. I just feel like this book was really something else. I've read so many books this year. I think I've almost read 50 now, and this has to be one of the best books that I've read. I just loved it. I loved it, and I love Boys of Tommen. This is literally like the same level, and this is her debut novel, so this girl's got talent on talent on talent. She's amazing. This book was amazing. I think it was so beautifully written. And yeah, there was just one moment I remember in the book that concerned one of the bullies that made me gasp so loud. I was like, what the hell? Listen, when you think that you've seen the worst, it just gets worse. The heat is getting cranked up. This book was amazing. Honestly, if you guys like an emotional ride, I think this will be the book for you. So sorry for the app. I hope you guys enjoyed it because I know I enjoyed this book. It was just crafted so freaking well, and I would give it 5 stars. I do have to mention that this is a YA romance, so there isn't any spice. So for everyone that always asks me to post about non-spicy books, this is the book for you. It is amazing. So amazing. You have to give it a read. If this isn't on your TBR already, put it on your TBR. Put it on your TBR. Meow. Yeah. Oh, what else? Oh, there was actually another couple that I really wanted to mention that I forgot. There was just this cute scene. I mentioned the older brother Wesley, and when they were little, they went to watch Ashby is a swimmer. I forgot to mention this. And they went to watch Ashby swim, and Wesley was walking with Milo, and they had their ice creams, and this little girl called Evie came up, or Evie or Ellie? Evie or Ellie? It's one or the other. Evie. And she came up, and there was literally like a part of it where Milo was like, oh, I know, like they're in love because she looks at Wesley the way I look at Ashby. I was like, my baby! Ah! It was just so freaking so good. You guys just have to read this book. I'm getting too distracted right now. So yes, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the app. Let me know if you will be reading this book, if you have read this book, and please like and subscribe. That's all. I love you guys so freaking much. I love you, Nissa. I cannot wait to read all your other books that you're gonna put out. I'm always gonna be there supporting you and reading your work, and hopefully uploading videos and posts about it. Can't wait to see what you get up to in the future. This was Close to You by Nissa Renzo. Thank you for watching.